All right, we teased this episode a little bit. We said we were going to do something like this. I'm not going to give the 3 away in the opening here. You're gonna have to tune into the episode to get it. But today we're going to talk about the 3 things we used to believe that don't anymore. And honestly, they make me sad, but I feel like it's something I wish I knew sooner.
I used to be naive enough to believe that if I became better physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, people would like me more. That is not how things have worked out.
Next Level Nation, today for episode number 2115, as promised, 3 things we used to believe but don't anymore. This is going to be a little bit negative, and I don't want it to be negative from a place of you should question everything that you believe, but I do think the things that we used to believe but don't anymore might come off as negative, because that's kind of the way it works. Maybe we could give one at the end. We could give one positive thing that we
still believe,
or one negative thing that is now positive.
You think you can come up with one?
I think given enough time I could.
I'm joking.
in the 18 minutes we have together, I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay.
Go
ahead. No, you can save it for the end.
I don't want to save it for the end.
Yeah,
man.
number 5 is my favorite.
You can save yours for the end.
The 5 ways to make $1 billion without working. Number 5's my favorite. Stick around to the end, you know?
Stick around to the end.
All right, you could say yours.
No, the one that I still believe, I want to start off on a positive note. And by the way, when you say negative, I like constructive. It'll seem negative, but it's going to be constructive.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so the thing that I always believed, that I still believe, that I know to be true, based on all of the evidence I have over the last 10 years mentoring and coaching, training, podcasting, is that everyone I've ever met is, number 1, capable of getting a little bit better today than they were yesterday. And number 2, 99% of the time, they are far more capable long-term than they realize in the moment.
I would say that's fair.
Because of the compound effect.
I would say that's fair. Number 1. Number 1. The universe doesn't give a shit about whether or not you get clients or get in shape or find your dream partner. The universe doesn't care. It's called the law of attraction, but it's not a law. They just made that up. They just made that up. It's not a law. I believe at best it's a suggestion or maybe a correlation, but it's not what people make it out to be. I did a lot of research on this. I was ChatGPT and I was like, give me specifics. Give me where were the inflection points for the law of attraction. The Secret was a massive one. And a lot of spiritual things were massive pieces to the law of attraction. What is true, what is accurate is there's something called the reticular activating system.
Nice.
Alan has been talking about this for fucking years.
RAS, baby.
The RAS. I just bought a new car. It is not a coincidence that I see the same car I have. It is because my mind is literally looking for it because that is what I have. If this is a really good thing, if you start looking for a new car, you're going to see that car everywhere. If you start looking for a home, you're going to be like, wow, there's so many houses for sale around here. Nope, they've always been for sale. You just didn't notice because you didn't care. Mm-hmm. That is the reticular activating system. I understand there's positivity attached to it. I understand there is hope, there is guidance attached to it. But if you think that you can just manifest things because you believe in them and you think about them, you are in for a rough road. I have been there. I had a very spiritual phase, and I can tell you right now, things really started shifting when I started to understand that every input I create creates an output. And I just think I wanted to go through that phase, and I wanted to feel like I was connected to something, and I wanted to feel guided. And I had that phase, and I was meditating, and that's all great. Meditation's great. All that's great. Mindfulness is great. Do that. Breath work, awesome. If there's no action, there will be no results. And unfortunately, it's very easy to say, well, maybe the universe just didn't think it was right for me. No, that's not the way it works. You can get it. You can go out and get it, but you got to take action. So I don't know. I look back and it's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe. This is an example I'll use really quickly. We were supposed to have a guest on the podcast. This was the last time we ever had a guest scheduled. Very successful person, millions of followers across their platforms. And I remember texting Alan saying, dude, I can't do it. Can't it? We're not doing it. And Alan's like, dude, same. This person
Can't do it.
Was super successful in their past life through strategy and discipline and all that stuff. Like, they had $1 billion a year. They were part of $1 billion a year company. Then they leave all that behind and say, no, you have to disconnect from this. And that's not how you got successful, friend.
No.
That's not how you got successful. Nope. Now you get successful by having people pay $30,000 to come coach with you. And again, we're coaches too. We don't charge $30,000. But it's just kind of this fucking system. Past life success, lean into self-improvement, manifestation, spirituality. That's not how you got it in the first place, though. We actually did start from the foundation of broke. There was no $1 million companies. Self-improvement was and still is the foundation. So yeah, I'm fired up today.
So you and I started from above zero, then we went past zero.
Yeah.
Into the debt land. And so rock bottom had a basement. And don't you think it's fascinating how during my most spiritual phase and your most spiritual phase, we were both the most broke we've ever been?
I do in retrospect, but at the time it didn't feel as bad to be broke, that is the scary part. It was like, well, no, I feel the most aligned I ever have, so I know it's going to happen. It never happened.
No, it did, but only after you stopped.
Well, that's
with
what
that
I
mentality.
Mean. There used to be a coffee shop that I would go to. We joke about it now. I had no business getting $7 iced lattes from this place, but I always felt really good and I felt really abundant when I was there. Nothing happened ever, but it felt really good, and I was like, I think I'm on to something. If I want you to be connected to something, yes, I'm all for that. You connect to whatever you want to connect to. Just understand that thing is not going to do the brunt of the work. It can't. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. I think there's a very, very, very strong correlation, at least in my own experience, when after I got kicked in the teeth, I always had a success phase after that. And that tells me, Alan, just stay humble, because why do you have to be kicked in the teeth to get back to the fundamentals? And again, I feel like you and I have done a really good job. We always say lately over the last year, we've said, when you're winning, stay humble. When you're losing, stay optimistic. If you're winning and optimistic, you are fucked. Like, winter is coming, whether you like it or not. So just, you have to stay. Someone shared recently, shout out to Evelyn. She messaged me saying we inspire her every day. Emilia, you, me. You posted something that was fire. It was humble. You know what I'm talking about.
You got to stay hungry to get it. You got to stay humble to keep it.
Nice. All right. So when Kevin mentioned manifestation, I pulled up on my other computer over here the manifestation equation. Now, we don't mean manifestation in the way that most people do. I want to share this. I've been dating Emilia for almost 6 years in October, and she says that this is the best thing she's ever seen of all the work we've ever done. I went over this at Next Level Live. If you were at Next Level Live, you know what this is. And I took one of my most successful clients, and I took her through all 10 steps. It has 10 steps. My point of this, number one, if you want it, reach out, DM me, Instagram, email me, I'll send you it. It has 10 steps to what manifestation, when people say I manifested it, what they actually did, whether they're aware of it or not, is these 10 steps. Or they lied, steal, cheated, lied through their teeth. What was the guy who said we're the herd in 235 countries?
That was a Facebook ad. Yeah, that was a Facebook ad.
There's only 195 countries.
There are territories, but they didn't say anything about that. So it's like, I can tell you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no. 195 established countries on planet Earth. We're the top 1% in 270 countries. You and I.
Shout out, yeah. We making them up. Next level nation country, yeah. Next level nation.
Now. Yeah, so we're not a fan of lying. Not a fan. It hurts everyone. It's not the real way you did it. Okay. The other two. So that was manifestation. And we have an equation, 10 steps. So reach out if you want that. What was the second one?
The second one is there are way more people than I realize that just are not authentic and are willing to trade character for success. Today, I had a call with somebody in group coaching. We offer free 30-minute calls for everybody in group coaching. Alan and I both do it. We do it separately.
One each.
Just yeah, not all the time.
Sign up for group coaching. Unlimited coaching for free.
Not all the time. Also, if you're interested in group coaching, it starts next
July
Tuesday, 7th.
July
7th.
8th?
8th. 7th, 8th, whatever. Next week. Please hold. Yeah, you're right. 8th.
July 8th, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
It is filling fast, so it will be sold out. We've never not sold it out, so if you are interested, make sure you get in early.
This is group 19. We've spent 19 groups perfecting this program.
Yes.
We've never presented the same thing twice.
And it's still not perfect, and it never will be perfect. And we will make mistakes, but we will always grow through mistakes, just like you will with us.
As someone who's taken a lot of online courses and bought a lot of courses, group coaching is a very, very, very well-polished product. And again, you are not going to find more I can authentically say this. You are never going to find more affordable coaching. 12 weeks, all of Q3, 12 sessions. It comes to, with the promo code NLU listener. You're a listener of NLU if you're listening. So NLU listener, all one word. The link will be in the show notes. It comes to less than $25 per session. And you get me, Kevin, and Amy. So it's the most affordable coaching I've ever seen.
I would second that. And that's because we want to be authentic and we want to be real and we want to add value and we don't want to pull the wool over people's eyes. There was a company we were not really in competition with, but I had a really big client with Next Level Podcast Solutions like 3 years ago. And they reached out to me and they're like, "Hey man, I found a new company that's willing to do what you do, but they say they can do it better and it's like $25 a month." And I was like, "Listen, do you understand how dumb that sounds? I mean, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire... Do you believe this?" He's like, "I don't know." Somebody that I know went. They are no longer in business. Everybody got screwed out of their money. Everybody got ripped off. And a lot of people got taken for a fair amount of money. I think to myself, how the hell could somebody build a fake company to rip people off? Unfortunately, it's probably it's probably way more common than you think. Now, again, there are still really good people trying to do really good things in the world. But I'm telling you, some of the people that you look up to the most, they are not who you think they are. And behind the scenes, they talk about how they're going to take advantage of you and you just never hear it. And unfortunately, that is something that we have been exposed to more times than I wish. If you have good people in your life, hang on to them. If you work with good people, if you work with good coaches, if you have good mentors, hang on to them because there's a lot of people out there that are doing shady shit for sure.
Hello, NLU listener. Thank you, as always, for listening to Next Level University. Real quick, I just want to jump in and let you know about the Next Level Dreamliner. This is a journal that I use every single day. Achieve your dreams 90 days at a time. It breaks down your dreams into goals, milestones, and daily habits. We hope you enjoy it. The link will be in the show notes. There are people buying views on YouTube, buying views and followers and likes and comments on Instagram, people buying Instagram accounts. I've witnessed this happening. It is very hard to tell if you don't know. It's kind of like if you haven't been in the fitness industry. I was in the fitness industry for long enough to where I can tell if someone's on steroids. A lot of other people can't tell, dude.
Yeah, I understand.
I've literally had people say, "Hey, do you think The Rock's on steroids?" Yes. Oh my God, yes. The dude's 50. It's impossible to look like that without steroids. Absolutely. But I understand if you're not in the industry, you might not know that. And there's some physiques that are kind of on the fence. It could go either way, but for the most part, you can kind of tell. It's called trend face. It's a type of steroid. Doesn't matter. The point that I'm making is that if you've not been in a podcast industry or the personal development industry or the self-improvement industry, if you've not been privy to all these conversations of all these people. There's someone I'm thinking of right now, I'll keep it anonymous, who has testimonials on their website. You and I were just talking about this, that are all fake.
Yeah, they're not real.
We've never posted a fake testimonial, ever. We have video testimonials from people all over the world. And I remember thinking to myself, Emilia and I, we started Relationship Talks coaching 4.5 years ago. Dude, we did free sessions for the whole first year just to gain testimonials. We have a document with everyone's testimonials, and we can't share full names. We end up sharing just the initials, but they're all real. And I remember thinking to myself, this other person didn't have to do that 1.5 years of work. They just lied about their testimonials, put them on their website. And I remember thinking to myself, I could never do that.
Same.
But I would love to compete with that person because the truth is they're not going to be that good at their craft. I have 1.5 years of real coaching with real people in the real world. And that's what I always say to people too. I say, listen, if you're not trying to help real people in the real world, you don't have a real business. That's how I opened Business Growth University. So at the end of the day, unfortunately, there's a large amount of people that are lying, stealing, cheating, faking, perception, status. It's just a thing. And if someone is not really working that hard and they're super successful, there's always a fucking catch. Always. There's generational wealth, or there's lying, stealing, cheating, or there's what Kevin said earlier about manifesting, where they grinded for 20 years, got successful that way, and then started talking about manifesting. And that's not what actually did it. And we've seen this so many times over the years, it's wild. So the last one is one that I came up with. So Kev came up with the first two, things that we used to believe that we no longer do. This is the one that I used to believe that I no longer do. It really hits home for me, which is, I remember 10 years ago, I got in a car accident. My dad died in a car when he was 28. I was 26 at the time. So I was 2 when my father passed away, when he was 28. When I was 26, for any new listeners, I got in a head-on collision, crossed the double yellows, my fault. Hefty car accident. Fortunately, no one was permanently physically injured. Definitely rattled, but no one was killed or anything. But this was the second chance my dad never got. And I found personal development, self-improvement, personal growth, mental health. This is when I went all in on fulfillment and went broke, by the way. So there's something to that. I became very fulfilled, happy, healthy, productive, fitness model, fitness competitor, fitness coach. And I had some mild success. But for the most part, I wasn't that successful, at least not compared to my corporate days. And I went from a global 1% earner basically to starting my own company, Alan Lazarus LLC, what you'll never learn in school but desperately need to know, a little YouTube channel, all this stuff. But I remember all my friends, when my stepdad left when I was 14, I had unconscious abandonment issues in hindsight. And so I had kind of lost 3 families by the time I was 14. It's a whole story. Birth father's family, stepfather's family. Haven't seen or spoken to a single one of them since. My mom got in a fight with my Aunt Sandy. We got kind of ostracized from her side of the family. To this day, I've only seen or spoken to 2 of them from her entire extended family. So I had all these abandonment, unconscious things to work through. And so I just hung on to friends and family as much as I could unconsciously. So I became this sort of social coward, this chameleon. I used to call myself a chameleon. I can fit into any room. That's also why I was good at sales. But you lose yourself in all that. And none of this was conscious, obviously. My point of all this is I brought my high school friends to college. We would party. I'd bring them all to college. I mean, there was 12 fraternities on campus, and I would bring everybody. There was a list. You have to get on. Am I on the list? Can I get on the list? The whole thing. High school friends to college friends to corporate. And in corporate, there was a referral program where I brought 5 people from WPI to the corporation, Cognex. And I actually had to take photos of me as the only time I was ever in a photo with a baseball bat in my hand because I never played baseball. And I hit a grand slam. I was a poster boy of the company in that time. And it was $3,000 for the first one, $6,000 for the second, $9,000 for the third, $12,000 for the fourth, and $15,000 for the fifth. And the fifth was I co-did with a colleague. We split the money because they don't have to pay recruiters. These are hefty engineers. I mean, these are big salaries. So headhunters, what they typically do is they have to pay headhunters to bring the best people to their company. And I would just say, well, I got people. So let me just bring my 2 of my best friends in college, Greg and John. I used to call them Geekus. And I brought them to the company, and we started an inside sales engineering team together, and then we went to outside sales engineering, and it was a whole thing. I think Greg might still be there. My point of all this is I actually thought when I went into personal development, I've never felt like a super likable guy. I always thought when I became a better man, I quit drinking, I start reading books. I start taking courses. I start working on myself. I start getting fit, happy, healthy, productive. I start trying to give myself to a greater cause, try to help kids, start a charity, start a podcast. I start to serve and be a better person. I've oriented my entire life around a greater cause, which is helping people reach their potential. And I thought that my friends would like me more. I really was this naive. I thought they'd think, oh, wow, good for you and all. Holy shit, that was fucking not the case. Oh my God, it was really quite bad for the first few years. When I stopped drinking, there was a lot of backlash. When I stopped hanging out with these people, when I started having more focus and priorities, it was really depressing. I'm not kidding. There was a 2-year span where I cried more than any other time in my life. The first 2 years of this 10-year journey were atrociously bad. Socially, like really, really bad. And in hindsight, it's obvious getting better and working on yourself is actually not socially celebrated.
Goes against the grain. Oh, you wanna bring Tupperware to dinner? How fucking dare you? Oh, mom cooks such a nice dinner though. I don't care. I don't care. Like, I have fitness goals. Well, you got to come to the concert. I'm trying to save money. Well, you got to come, and we're getting front row seats. This person only comes here once a year. It's like, if I come, I'm going to get nosebleeds, and I'm probably not going to come anyway because I want to go in a different direction. That's what makes it so fucking hard. This I'm going to end on a positive note. This is my ending on a positive note. The compound effect in putting in the reps, I know Alan kind of spoke to this already, is way more beneficial and way more impactful than I ever thought. I had a moment the other day where they're like, you guys have 2,000 episodes? And again, it's normal and I don't think about it that often. And I was like, yeah, every one of those episodes, there's a little bit of growth. Just a little bit of growth, a little bit of growth, a little bit of growth. So that adds up way more than you probably realize. If you do something 100 times, you're going to be better than if you did it once. If you do it 500 times, you're going to be better than if you did it 100. And there's something to that. And I don't know, maybe you don't believe it until you do it for long enough. At least that was my case. But yeah, I'm going to end on a positive note because I know we were in negative town a little bit today.
Yeah, that's fire. I hope that the next level lesson is reevaluate what you used to believe. And there's certain things I used to believe that I actually believe in way more now. And then there's other things that I've had to really reconsider because these beliefs are driving where you end up. More than any other thing, say, think, do, feel, believe. What you believe, if I had to pick one, that's the one I'd work on first.
And you're allowed to change your beliefs. Like, you don't have to believe the same thing. When you're introduced to new things, your beliefs are going to be tested and you can change them. It doesn't make you a hypocrite. I used to believe a lot of stuff I don't believe. And I used to not believe a lot of stuff that I believe today, right? I think that's evolution. You get to evolve. You don't have to be tied to a belief if you don't want to be. So
you can't grow without changing your beliefs, at least to some extent.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. All right, nice. Cool. Next Level Nation, as you heard, if you are interested in the Next Level Podcast Accelerator, that starts on the 8th, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., 12 weeks, 90 days boot camp to help you level up yourself, level up your podcast, and level up your business. This is what I tell people when they ask about it. Our goal is to allow you to leave there with the awareness, the tactics, the strategy, the deeper understanding to turn your podcast into a business if that's what you're trying to do. So link will be in the show notes for that.
Also, if you want to read more and get around more growth-minded people and you don't want to be in lonely land like I was for the first 2 years of this journey, we are reading Willpower in Book Club. It's every Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a good, solid group of people in there, just good people, no bullies allowed. If anyone shits on anybody's dreams or goals, they're going to be booted immediately. It needs to be constructive conversation. Hard truths, yes, but no disrespect allowed.
All right. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Keep it next level. Next Level Nation.